Dear students, welcome to this lecture of digital logic and system design. On the previous turn, we have seen half adder, full adder, half subtractor, full subtractor, and this was the last slide that we saw on the previous turn, which talks about a parallel adder. It works in just the same way as we carry out binary addition. For example, we are given two numbers A and B, so we will add 1 and 1, that will be a 0 with a carry 1. So same thing will happen, a 1 here and a 1 here, and the sum will come out here and the carry will go here. Similarly, a2 b2 along with the carry, so a2 will be 1, b2 will be 0, and this carry which is coming out from the previous stage will be fed here. All three will be added in a full adder. The sum will come out to be 0, and the carry which is 1 will go to the next stage. So I told you, in fact this has been described before, so I'm not going to go into much explanation of it, but nevertheless I did tell you on the previous turn that this is a ripple adder, because the carry that is rippling through the stages, right? And the first stage will have the carry being set to 0 in case it's not being connected elsewhere. So this is a modular design. This may be continued in a similar fashion for as many bits as we want to have there. Now the next slide is really interesting. In order to understand this 4-bit adder oblique subtractor, let us first understand how the exclusive OR gate behaves when we give one of its input as 0 or when we give one of its input as 1. So this is x, the other input is 0. We know the expression is xy dash plus x dash y. So when this is 0, so y dash would be 1 and y would be 0. So this term will become 0 and this term will become x. So I can conclude that whenever one of the inputs of a two input exclusive OR gate is 0, I get the same variable coming out of it. But when for the same exclusive OR gate, I am giving one of the inputs as still x, but the other input is 1. So xy dash plus x dash y, the same expression. Now y dash in this case is 0 because y is 1, so y dash is 0, but y remains 1. So it will be x dot 0 plus x dash dot 1. So now x dot 0 will become 1 and I'll get x dash as the output. So in the exclusive OR gate, this is one of the benefits of using the exclusive OR gate, that you can control the output by one of the inputs being controlled. If that input is 0, we get x, and when the one of the inputs is 1, we get x dash. Now come to this circuit, which is an adder subtractor. It carries out addition as well as it carries out subtraction, depends on this control line S. So obviously this is a line S which can have two values, 0 and 1. So suppose this is 0 to begin with. When this is 0, the carry to this stage being fed is 0, right? Now A1 goes to X1 and B1. Since S is 0, so I'll get B1 at the output. From this we have seen whatever is the input that comes out when one of the inputs is 0. Likewise, this S is going to all the exclusive ORs here. So I'll get Y1 as B1, Y2 as B2, Y3 as B3, Y4 as B4. This is the final carry, and the intermediate carries, they keep rippling through. So it is very much similar to the previous slide, which is a parallel adder when S is 0. Now the interesting thing comes when S is 1. Now when S is 1, I'll get B1 bar here. I've seen here, right? We have seen here. With X and the other input being 1, it becomes X dash. So this S being fed to all of them, that means 1 is being fed to all of them. So I'll get B1 bar here, B2 bar here, B3 bar here, B4 bar here. What does that mean? I am getting the ones complement of B being fed. Whereas A1 keeps going in. A1, A2, A3, A4 keeps going in like that. Now since this S is also 1, so that means the carry at the first stage is also 1. So whenever I complement a number and add 1 to the least significant bit, what do I get? I get 2's complement, right? So basically F1, F2, F3, F4, they are going to give me A plus B bar plus 1, right? Where A is A1, A2, A3, A4, B is B1, B2, B3, B4. So because of this, I am getting B1 bar, B2 bar, B3 bar, B4 bar. So I can say that I am getting B bar, right? So this is full adder. So it will give me A bar plus B bar. And also this one. So I'll get A bar plus B bar plus 1. And what does B bar plus 1 means? It means 2's complement of B. And whenever I do A plus 2's complement of B, that is equivalent to A minus B, right? That is equivalent to A minus B. So let me write it. Okay, so what is happening here? We are basically doing A plus B bar plus 1. So which is A plus 2's complement of B, which is A minus B, right? So I can see that this hardware control S, when it is 0 I am getting adder, when it is 1 I am getting the same circuit as a subtractor, right? So this is a very useful circuit. With S being 0 it becomes an adder, with S being 1 it becomes a subtractor. The same circuit becomes a subtractor because of the peculiar nature of this exclusive OR gate. Okay, so let us talk about the code converters now. BCD to XS3 code converter. This is the truth table. When this is 0, the output is 3. When this is 1, output is 4, so on. When this is 9, the output is 12, right? So I can write from here that, okay, so let me go to the next slide to carry out the K-map minimization. So you see, for W, I am getting what all terms? Okay, I'll show you what all terms we are getting. We are getting this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All are ones, and the rest of them are don't care, right? Because this is a BCD, so we know that it cannot occur beyond 9. So all the rest will be don't care condition. So that will be the truth table for W, right? So this is W. So I'm getting 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and rest of them are don't care. So if you do the minimization, it becomes A plus B, C plus D. Likewise, I can get X, I can get Z, and I can get Y. So you can do it yourself. Draw the K-map for all the 4 outputs separately and try to minimize all those outputs, right? So that will give you a practice on K-map as well. And this is a very good example of the don't care conditions as well. So these are the terms, minimized terms that I'll get for all the 4 outputs Z, Y, X, and W. So you can go ahead and verify this for yourself, right? And then I can realize them using the logic circuit. So again, I invite you to realize this circuit from the Boolean expressions that we have obtained from the K-map minimization. The point that I am trying to make is that I can also use the 4-bit parallel adder for BCD to XS3 code conversion. This is a 4-bit adder, right? The one I've seen, the ripple adder, what I called alternately the ripple adder. So you give BCD input to all the A's, 4 A's, and over B, what you're giving is a constant, which is 0, 0, 1, 1. Going from B4, B3, B2, B1, this is 0, 0, 1, 1, which is 3. So whatever BCD you will give, that will always be incremented by 3. So when I'll give 0 here, I'll get 3 at the output. When I give 1, I'll get 1 plus 3, 4. When I give 2 as the inputs, I'll get 2 plus 3 equals 5. When I give 9 here, 9 plus 3, 12 will come out. And also the 0 that I'm feeding at B3, B4 to make these 2 bits constant as 0 is also being fed to the input carry, right? And C5 is never used because never a carry is going to occur, because I'm talking about x3 code conversion. The maximum value that I can have is 9. So 9 plus 3, the maximum value with 12, which will never exceed 4 bits. So this will not be used. So I can use the 4-bit adder, the one I showed you as the ripple adder, for BCD to x3 code conversion as well. Okay. Now this is very interesting. BCD adder, or it is also alternately called decimal adder. Try to understand the truth table first, and then we will see what is happening. Whenever I am getting the binary sum, final binary sum as 0, I keep it 0. Whenever I am getting the sum as 1, I keep it 1. The same thing continues till 9, I am getting 9. Fine. Now, when the decimal sum becomes 10, so instead of writing 1010, which is here 1010, I must write it in BCD sum, which is 1 for this and 000 for these. Similarly, 11, which in binary is 1011, right? It will become 10001, 11. Likewise, this will continue till 19. Why till 19? Because I'm talking about BCD sum, and BCD goes as far as 9 only. So 9 plus 9 is 18, and if there is a carry from from some previous stage, so that will add up to 19. So the maximum value that I can get is 19. 19 in binary would have been 10011, but BCD sum should have been 11, which is 1, and 9, right? 1001, right? So this is how a BCD adder should behave. Now I'll okay, let me give you some idea. What I'm doing is I'm doing a 4-bit binary adder. To it, these are the addend and the augend, the two BCD inputs that are to be added, which may vary from 0 to 9, and carry in, which may be 1. Right? That this is what I mentioned when I said that this can be maximally 9, this can be maximally 9, and this can be 1. So 1 plus 9 plus 9, the maximum sum would be 19, which I showed you that 19 could be the maximum sum. Now see what is happening, that when the binary sum of the two BCD inputs that remains within 9, I should get the same number. But when it exceeds 9 and goes up till 19, I should add 6 to it. Why 6? Because you see, this is 10, and this, when represented in BCD, is 16. This is 11, and when represented in BCD is 17. You can see 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. So 16 plus 1 is 17. You check anywhere, right? This is 19, so this should be 25, right? You can see for yourself 1, 0, 2, 4. These are, sorry, just hold on. Yeah, 1, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. So 8 plus 16 is 24, plus 1 is 25. So this is the idea of a BCD adder. If you have understood the truth table, the design should be very clear. I should apply a correction at the output. As far as binary sum remains within 9, I should not do any correction whatsoever. But when it exceeds 9, I should add 6 to it. So I must identify this condition. See, C I should identify. Now, how can I write C? Now you will realize what logic means, why this course is called digital logic. You see, I'm writing C is equal to K, right? Now, when I say C is equal to K, I cover these only, these conditions only. These points are still remaining, these points are still remaining. So what I do is, in order to cover these points, if I simply do K or Z8, then it will include these two also, which I don't want to. I just want to keep it between this. So what I'm doing is Z8 and Z4 or Z2. So when you say Z4 or Z2, right? So Z8 or Z4, Z8 dot Z4 and Z2, right? So this covers exactly these conditions. Let me explain once more. I just have to generate C, because the C can give me the correction of 6, right? In addition to this C being one of the decimal digits, it will also provide me with the correction. When C is 0, there should not be any correction, but when C is 1, I should give a correction of adding 6 to the binary sum in order to get the BCD sum, right? Now, how do I generate C? I wrote C is equal to K. If I leave it at there, C is equal to K, then I'll cover these only. That means C will be 1 here only, and it will not be 1 in these cases, it will remain 0. So what I did, Z8, Z4. When I say Z8, Z4, it covers these four also. And when I say or Z8, Z2, then it covers these two also. So effectively I've covered all these conditions when I wrote this expression k plus z8 z4 plus z8 z2, right? You can see z8 is at these two places, and z2 and z4 are never ones there, right? So remember this expression c is equal to k plus z8 z4 plus z8 z2. I'll use this to apply the correction, and also this c would be one of the decimal digits, right? Now let us go to the next slide. 4-bit binary adder, 4-bit binary adder. This is the carry out k, right? This carry out k. So I must generate k plus z8 z4 plus z8 z2. So this is z8 z4 z2 z1, right? So k or z8 z4 or z8 and z2. So this gives me c, right? This gives me c. Now look here. This C is being fed to the next 4-bit binary adder at these 2 bits. And this sum is coming here. Now when this C is 0, what will happen? This sum plus 0, that means the same sum will pass through. But when this C is 1, I'll get a constant 0, 1, 1, 0, which is 6. 0, 1, 1, 0 is 6. So I'll add 6 to all such numbers where C is, this output carry is 1. And there will be no addition, that means 0 addition when this C is 0. This is exactly what we required. Whenever the binary sum is between 0 and 9, I do not require a C, and I do not require any correction either. But when the binary sum exceeds 9, and all these conditions I have covered using k plus z8 z4 plus z8 z2, as I explained a little while ago, then this should apply homogeneously an addition of 6 to all such numbers which exceed 9, right? So that is what, using 4-bit binary adder, I can realize a BCD adder, right? So go through it. This is very interesting design, and this talks a great deal about the logic that we have been, saying, the logic that we have been mentioning time and again, right? So that is how our decimal adder will operate, using two 4-bit binary adders and the corresponding correction applied. Now let me move on to the next very interesting design. This is called a magnitude comparator. Suppose I am given two binary numbers. They may be n-bit binary numbers. I've just taken the example of 4-bit binary numbers, but we will see that this design is also going to be modular once again. So when this is modular, this is going to give me the comparison of the magnitude. So comparison of magnitude means I have to see whether A is equal to B, or A is greater than B, or A is less than B. Right? So first let us talk about A being equal to B. Now you see the equivalence function will come to our rescue. Equivalence function exactly tells you whether two given binary bits, they are equal or not, right? So I'll say xi is equal to ai exclusive NOR with bi. And exclusive NOR is basically ai bi plus ai dash bi dash. So I define xi being ai bi plus ai dash b dash bi dash, I being 0, 1, 2, 3 for our case. So a is equal to b will come when x3 and x2 and x1 and x0. In other words, when a3 is equal to b3 and a2 is equal to b2 and a1 is equal to b1 and a0 is equal to b0. If you want to extend it to n bits, then in that case, every bit by bit comparison should come out to be equal. So that should be a dot a0 exclusive NOR with b0 and a1 exclusive NOR with b1 and a2 exclusive NOR with b2 and so on, an exclusive NOR with b1. So that is how all of them should come out to be equal. Only then the two numbers will be equal. So bit by bit comparison will have to be done. So a is equal to b is pretty straightforward, right? We just have to AND the exclusive NOR of the corresponding bits, and exclusive NOR of the corresponding bit is going to tell you whether the two bits are equal or not. If there is a single bit, single, corresponding bits which are not equal, then in that case that particular xi will come out to be 0. And if any xi comes out to be 0, the entire comparison will come out to be 0. That means a is not equal to b, right? If there is a single bit which doesn't come out to be equal. Okay, so that is one condition. Now coming to a greater than b. A greater than b means 1 0. That is the only possibility. A greater than b, a should be 1 and b should be 0. None of the other three combinations. You see, when I say a, when I say ai bi, so none of the other comparison, ai bi means 0 0. I will say that greater than doesn't apply. 0 1 greater than is not true. 1 0 is the only condition where that corresponding bit is greater. And again, ai bi being 1 1, they are not greater. They are equal, but they are not greater. And I'm talking about a greater than b. So when you have to compare these two numbers, what do? You compare these two first. If a3 is greater than b3, you need not check the rest of them. You can conclude there itself that a is greater than b, because they become insignificant in that case. What if a3 b3 is equal? Now you will go on to check a2 b2. If a2 is greater than b2 in a condition where a3 and b3 are equal, you need not check the rest of them, right? And so on. So how can I write that? 1 0 means a3 b3 dash, right? A3 b3 dash is 1 0. So I will say a greater than b. Again, the beauty of logic will emerge. A greater than b means a3 b3 bar. That means a3 is greater than b3, or x3. That means a3 equal to b3 and a2 b2 bar. That means a3 and b3 are equal, but a2 is greater than b2. Or both a3 b3 are equal and a2 b2 are equal, but a1 is greater than b1, a1 b1 bar. Or x3 x2 x1, that means all the three bits are equal, but a0 is greater than b0, a0 b0 bar. Okay, so this will give me a greater than b, right? Likewise, a less than b. A less than b means is possible only when they are 0 1, and 0 1 can be written as a3 dash b3. 0 1 is the only condition where a is less than b. So I'll write a3 dash b3, a3 dash b3. If that is not the case, so I say or a3 and b3 are equal, but a2 is less than b2. Or a3 b3 are equal, a2 b2 are equal, but a1 is less than b1. Or a3 b3 are equal, a2 b2 are equal, a0 b0 are equal, sorry, a1 b1 are equal, but A0 is less than B0, then only A will be less than B. If that is not the case, I'll say A is not less than B. If that is not the case, then I'll say A is not greater than B. So I've obtained all three conditions by these expressions. A is equal to B, A greater than B, and A less than B. These are the, in fact, I remember in our school days we were taught this is one of the very basic postulate of mathematics, right? I'm not talking about Boolean algebra. This is one of the very, that given two numbers, they can be either equal, or one may be greater than the other, or one may be less than the other, the second, right? So these are the only three conditions, and we have checked all three conditions using our beautiful Boolean logic, right? Now what remains is just the realization uh, of these expressions in a clever way, though. The clever way is such that they have realized exclusive NOR. If you forget about this bubble, this is exclusive NOR. Why this is exclusive OR? It is only when you add this inverter to it, it becomes exclusive NOR. So why are they doing it? Why aren't they realizing, A3 B3 bar or A3 B3? Because A3 B3 bar will be used. Similarly, A3 dash B3 will be used. So it is better to realize this. So rather than realizing AIBI plus AI dash BI dash, what I am doing is AIBI dash plus AI dash BI plus AIBI dash whole dash, right? So that the realization of, otherwise what would have happened, at one place I would have done AIBI, at the other place I would have done AIBI dash, at the second place I'll have to do AI dash BI. So I'll have to realize three different functions. So what they have cleverly done is they have realized A3 B3 bar and A3 bar B3, right? Now you see, so this goes here. In order to get A less than B, you see this is coming out to be A3 B3 bar. It, or whatever I get x1 and A2 B2 bar, A2 B2 dash, and, right, and it says x3 and x2 and A1 B1 bar, A1 B1 bar, right, right, or you see here x3 and x2 and x1, right, and A0 B0 bar. So if when you OR all of them, I get A less than B. A greater than B likewise is either A3 B3 dash, which is here, A3 B3 dash, or x3. You see, this is x3, right? Yeah, here. This is x3, and let me see. X3, x3. Yes, this one. Yes. So x3 and b2, or a2 b a2 dash b2, a2 dash b2. Right. Similarly, this one will have x3 and x2 and a2 bar b2, right? So that will come out. Oh, I'm just reversing. This is a less than b, in fact, and this is a greater than b. So the idea remains the same. You see, the idea remains the same. And finally, a equal to b will have x3 and x2 and x1 and x0. When you add all of them, you get a equal to b, and when you get x3, you get a3 b3 bar, right? A3 b3 bar. This is A3 B3 bar, right? A3 B3 bar, or x3 into a3 b3 bar into a2 b2 bar, or x3 x2 and a2 b2 bar, right? Or x3 x2 x1 and a0 b0 bar. So you'll get a greater than b. For a less than b, it is a3 b3 a3 dash b3. See, a3 b3 a3 dash b3, or x3 over here, x3 and a2 bar b2. You see, a2 bar a2 dash b2, right? So this you tap and use here. So this is how, and then find, and this is x3. You see, this one is x3 x2 and, yeah, a2 bar b2. Now the next input comes, who? This one x3 x2, and this is a1 dash b1. And finally this one comes with x3 x2 x1, and the fourth input is a0 bar b0. So this will be a 4-bit magnitude comparator. If you want to increase it further, then in that case what will happen? You will have x4 also, which will be, x4 will be a4 exclusive NOR with b4, right? And correspondingly a greater than b will be a4 b4 dash, or x4 a3 b3 dash, or x4 x3 a2 b2 dash, or x4 x3 x2 a1 b1 dash, or x4 x3 x2 x1 a0 b0 dash. And over here it will be a4 dash b4, or x4 a4 dash b3, or x4 x3 a2 dash b2, or x4 x3 x2 a1 dash b1, or x4 x3 x2 x1 a dash a0 dash b0. So likewise this design will go on continuing unless you've got all of them covered. So this will, and correspondingly you can have the design of the corresponding magnitude comparator for as many bits as you want to have. So we will stop here. We will continue the later topics in the next lecture. Thank you very much.